to switch gears over to running back buys. So running back buys, dynasty formats. Evan, give us your number one buy for a rebuilding team.
Yeah, number one buy for rebuilding team. Look, Mike, you said this was a reach. You said this was not fully acceptable, but I had it down on the list a long time ago at this point. We're talking over 20 hours ago. Man, it feels great. Kaleb Johnson, everybody's knocking on him from the combine. I think it's ridiculous. I watch a ton of Big Ten football. Like, I watch a ton of college football, period. Watching him run at Iowa, watching the way that he set up defenders, watching the way that he powered through, watching the way that he absolutely carried everything having to do with this Iowa offense all season, watching the boxes that he ran against. I mean, this is a guy that will produce at the NFL level and can carry 250, 300 times if he's needed to be able to just have that volume roll. Obviously, this is going to be landing spot dependent on how high he really ends up going or how low he ends up going. Because right now, based off of our friends over at Fantasy Calc, he's valued at the 110. And if that's the case, I will spend every 110 that I have to be able to draft Kaleb Johnson. Because, get it, rebuilding teams, you probably don't want a running back. But if you can get a running back with top 15 upside at 110, that's a value right there.
Yep. While you were talking, I was looking up some speed scores from the combine. That is taking their weight and their speed into consideration. Look, he's back-to-back with Trevor Etienne, who weighs 198. So, Etienne ran faster, but he's 30 pounds lighter. He's ahead of Ollie Gordon. He's ahead of Taj Brooks. He's ahead of Marcus Yarns. There's some guys that people are giving him hype. Like, I saw a Marcus Yarns, James Cook comparison. Forgive me, I don't remember who it was, but guys, pump the brakes, draft Kaleb Johnson, enjoy the slip that he's going to have there. Bob, who is your buy?
I'm going to go with Trey Benson. I'm probably going to have to overpay for him, but if I'm going to overpay for something, it's going to be a young running back in an offense like the Cardinals have. We've seen what the feature role means there. Drew Petzing's offense leans heavily on that position. Kyler Murray, despite all the hype and all the love. I mean, he runs, sure. He passes, sure. It's great. He has a great receiving core. And look, there's pieces there I like outside the backfield as well. But I think Trey Benson's a guy that's maybe a year away from being the full-time starter there and having a massive role. Great size, great speed coming out. A lot to like there. And I think the Cardinals offense will sustain the kind of production we've seen from James Conner, except with a younger, faster guy.
Yeah, look, I'm always going to give extra points for any Benson love. We loved Benson before the draft. It's just unfortunate he went to a place with a very good running back.
Very good.
So he's going to be stuck until the wheels fall off of Conner, which
anytime.
Any day now. We've been saying that for 3 years, but this is the year. Look, even if Conner goes somewhere else, the Cardinals fall apart, they need to trade him away. Maybe Benson takes the lead role for a couple of weeks. You'll be able to flip him for higher or just enjoy the ride. So
the contract though, I think it becomes an issue for Conner at the end of this year, like heading into 26. So either way, whether he's still going great guns or not, the contract's going to time him out in Arizona.
Yep.
Now, quick question here on Benson, because I saw this in the notes. Do you think that there would be a better buy window in season when they start seeing Conner in that first third get a line share?
Absolutely.
Okay.
100%. And that would be the boss move there is waiting, having the patience, letting it play out a little bit, see what happens, but do it quick when the season starts because you never know with Conner.
Yep. Just wait until week 4 and enjoy it. I have my guy. I cannot quit him. Tyjae Spears. Listen, when Tony Pollard went down, Tyjae looked like an absolute monster. He looked like he was on his way to a couple of top 10 finishes. Tony Pollard, 27, 28, getting up there, already has a broken leg. There's a lot of things to like about Tyjae Spears, and I am just willing to bet on the talent that he has. He's still young enough. He's in hopefully an ascending offense that can't get worse than the Will Levis ride. I'm in on Spears.
I like my running backs to have all their ATLs. No,
don't need them.
Don't need. Apparently not.
Yeah.
I do wonder. Like this was a new regime. Basically, I just wonder. I mean, clearly he had a bit of a role. I just wonder if they view him as a solid enough play to fuel my fantasy fortunes. But if the price is right, I'm not against anybody.
other way to look at it, it's a new regime that did not sign Tony Pollard. So
Fair.
now they're really going to
Fair
evaluate
point.
who is the better running back. They didn't just throw a bag of money.
Fair point.
I'll roll the dice. Listen, I just like these little garbage bin extra toss-ins. Right now, he's valued right around a late second. We'll take that. So, Evan, give us a crusty running back. Again, we wouldn't recommend buying a running back at this time of the year, but you guys want to trade for him. We want to give you some options. Evan, give us a shot.
Look, mine's crusty, but he's not rusty. All right. So we got the king. We polished up the crown, put him in Baltimore. We saw what he did. But because of his age, because of his workload, he is still only valued by our friends over at Fantasy Calc as RB16 for a dynasty with an evaluation of the 1.08. All right, 1.08. So you're telling me on a win now team, I can either go get Egbuka, I think is where Fantasy Calc has right now as the 8th pick there, or Derrick Henry. We're doing cross positional here. Okay, interesting. Yeah, no question. Give me Derrick Henry. We're talking about a guy that, if you look at the other running backs ahead of him last year in total fantasy points, Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley, Jahmyr Gibbs, those guys you're not getting for the 107. And as a competing team, 107 means that I just made the playoffs and I got bounced in the first round. So if I have a team that's running it back, why would I not want to go get the 4th most productive running back from last year, a running back that is expected to have another 300 carry season, a running back that is expected to have another double-digit touchdown season, and really has no other competition in that backfield?
I am going to switch it up. So, yes, he has one more year. Yes, I refuse to bet against Derrick Henry. You pointed out Kaleb Johnson. Would you rather have Derrick Henry or Kaleb Johnson, Quinshon Judkins, insert your RB3, Travion Henderson, whoever it may be here?
Yeah, I mean, win now team, I'm taking Derrick Henry. I'm taking the points. I'm trying to get that championship. And I'm going to push all in around that trade deadline. I'm going to see where my team is. As long as it is in playoff contention, playoff maybe solidified at that point. If I'm adding Henry, I'm adding somebody that's probably going to average somewhere around 19 to 20 points a game. That is a huge boost over what most people are starting as their RB1, which is typically somewhere around that 14 to 15 point per game for most teams in dynasty formats.
I'm going to give you a half point for this because I don't believe you, but I hear you.
I think he needs more points. Anytime you're invoking Derrick Henry, the coaching cliche is a cliche but true. 2 things you can't coach in the NFL: size and speed. Derrick Henry has more of both than everybody else he's playing against and with. Still, I'm pulling up what Matt Waldman calls my centerfold, my next gen stats top speeds. Yep. I do see the 11th fastest speed last year, had multiple runs over 20 miles an hour, at 247 pounds. Saw no signs of slowing down, working on the offensive line there in Baltimore, always playing alongside Lamar Jackson. Like this is gold. This is win now gold. I'm all in with you, Evan, on this one.
Nice. And I'm going to give another crusty, rusty guy real quick. Brian Robinson. Listen, the reason that you feel gross is because everyone's worried the Commanders are going to draft somebody. They're going to go get another running back to add to this room. They don't have the draft capital to do that. They either have picks after the 200 or they have very early picks, which it would be very fun to see a good running back on this offense. But it's more likely we just see Brian Robinson run it back, plod his way to a couple of touchdowns. Listen, he had an ankle sprain in November, and everyone remembers the November and December Brian Robinson, and they think this guy stinks. He's still a solid running back.
I want to be in on this so bad. I love the guy, love him as a player, love his skills. I have a personal history with him, and the personal history is every time I play him, it's the other Brian Robinson Jr. that shows up. And every time I sit him, it's the one we love, shows up, it's hard for me. So for the right price, I can get past that. But I don't know that he puts me in a I don't know what he does for me in a win now team.
Listen, you have 2 good running backs. Let's say you already have Derrick Henry, Kenneth Walker on your roster.
Fair.
You go get, let's see, Brian Robinson Price over on Fantasy Calc, our friends over there. You can get him for the 204. That looks about right.
Yeah, that's about right.
So you can get him for the 204. Like, would you rather have the 8th or 9th best running back in this class, or somebody with a role on a good offense that we think is a medium running back?
Yeah.
It's one of those moves you don't feel great about.
I'd rather have Devontae Adams for the 204.
Devontae Adams, the best goal line back in all of football.
Oh, all right. And Bob, who is yours? And I'm going to give you negative points for him.
The other great goal line back right now. And yes, I know Devontae Adams, wide receiver. People think back a couple of years in Green Bay. I'm gonna go with Josh Jacobs while we're in Green Bay, and people may be a little leery of coming off a huge touchdown season. I'm not leery. I think the price would be you'd have to pay, but I think you're going to get something similar to what you saw last year, at least in terms of role and the way the offense works. Look, I've said this since Matt LaFleur took over this team, even when Aaron Rodgers was there. Matt LaFleur wants to be a run-heavy team. He wants to lean on the run and hit big plays in the passing game. It's not like a pass first. This is not pass heavy. This is leaning into the run, and we saw it multiple times over the course of this season. The volume is great. The opportunities are great. Love Josh Jacobs. Ready to pay that first-round pick or so for him.
My only pushback, my only concern, and I am a noted Josh Jacobs hater, but listen, you made some good points. Everyone died in that backfield. Marshawn Lloyd ended up on IR before the season began. A.J. Dillon ended up on IR before the season began. Even their third running back, I can't even remember his name because he wasn't worth bringing to mind. Emmanuel Wilson ended up getting with a couple of banged up injuries. Is it repeatable that Josh Jacobs is going to have, 350 touches? Again?
That part's repeatable. I don't know if the touchdowns are. I mean, that's the concern for me, right? So I think it's more about, the touchdown scoring, and I'm paying a huge premium for that. So, but I'm kind of willing to in this offense.
Okay. So Josh Jacobs currently going around you could switch the 108. Jacobs or 108.
I'll take Josh Jacobs there, please.
Okay.
Ooh. Okay. You said
win now.
You said 108. So 107 is Derrick Henry's value. So Derrick Henry or Josh Jacobs? I'd
take Derrick Henry.
Okay.
But there was choices had already been made when I hit the rundown, so I had to pivot. But yes, he would be my ideal choice. I'm not going to deny it. You got the winner here.
Very nice.
So is there any concern over the fact that Josh Jacobs over his NFL career has been a volume, not so much efficiency back? We're talking somebody who I don't think has ever averaged over 5 yards per carry for an entire season.
Not in this offense, there's not. I think that's, this is the key. It's the perfect blend of player and desire for the coach. Look, funny things can happen and seasons can go awry. And we've seen Jordan Love of the final 10 games 2 years ago be quarterback 3, and they were leaning heavily on him. I don't know what this receiving core is going to look like. Christian Watson's not going to open the year. I know when Jordan Love took over, they were dead set on, letting him develop with a group of young receivers. Well, it's a process, and the process seemed to have hit a bit of a speed bump last year, and it's whack-a-mole at wide receiver. From a fantasy perspective, the one piece you can rely on every single week, it seems to me, is Josh Jacobs, just because he has that touchdown upside, and boy, they leaned into it. And you're hoping for that, right? Like, he does have to hit that number, but if I'm on a win now team, I'm going to take that gamble. Nobody remembers who came in second place.
Very fair.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Football RPG Podcast. If you made it this far, be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to check out written content, head over to lastwordonsports.com.
Don't let the goblins get you.